welcome back to Play and Talk. And once again, we have GameOverThirty as our guest over here.
Hello, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Good to have you back on though from last time.
Well, thanks, guys. Get it?
And sorry for the delay, everybody. Although I announced it on Twitter that it would be at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time, I took a bit of a nap and I overslept. Whoops.
So on this one, we're definitely going to be dedicating this mostly as a Star Citizen stream because I know you said like last time we could definitely dedicate a whole one to that just based on everything that's happened with it. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I think now would be a good time about it as any to really talk about it.
Yeah, we had some topics to mention. Like first off, like WordPress, their parent company Automatic has bought. It's buying Tumblr from Verizon for about $20 million, which is much less.
I thought it was $30 million that they bought it for.
Yeah, it's $20 million. And Verizon bought Tumblr for $1 billion back in 2013.
That's a huge freaking loss on Verizon's part, though, to have that. I mean, they bought it for $1 billion. And they're only selling it for like a very tiny fraction of the cost that they bought it for. They pretty much just gave it for free.
They bought it for $1 billion?
Yeah, back in 2013.
Yeah, they actually bought Tumblr for $1 billion. And they're only selling it for, as you said, 20-something million dollars for it. So they pretty much gave it for free.
Also, just to let everybody know, I'm not sure if we have spoken in the last time, but Wal-Mart is by putting down advertisements for Final video games, not the Final video games themselves. I don't know if we mix that up.
Yeah, it was on the last stream. I think we sort of brought it up, but I think we just forgot to mention that specific part since we were on the topic.
Yeah. Have you seen? People have been posting pictures of Walmart today, and I had no idea what's going on. I did not go past my Walmart, but apparently some Walmarts are still taking games out of the stores. I don't know.
It sounds like there's been information involved. Stupid either way. It's just like,
right. They're still selling the games. It's just that they're just taking down the advertisements, which is
they included the box. So they're including box art as advertisement. I'm assuming in that statement.
Yeah, that's kind of what they mean. Like when you go into the section of the games, the actual box art that is outright promoting it, they took down. But the actual games, I mean, I'll pass by my Walmart tomorrow to go and see. But to my knowledge, they're still selling the games. They're just taking down the box art and the merchandising.
Yeah.
So
you make an announcement for this in one of the Who Wants Gaming Discord channel. So promotion, everybody.
Just what Kashyyyk needs. A bunch of noisy clankers moving into the neighborhood.
Yeah, just that.
And speaking of Ninja, speaking of Ninja, when he left Twitch decided to use his channel to promote other channels. Unfortunately, some of them have porn on it.
I have seen on that one though. And as far as the promoting different channels, people feel skeptical about it, but I personally buy it. I think though that it would be a really good initiative, especially for smaller streamers. Like say if a big one, say if they're not on it right now, that maybe if they're watching some past archive streams, that maybe a smaller streamer is getting advertised that they can get promotion for it. I think that's a good system though, and I would support it.
Yeah.
It's just that, especially after where it actually just straight up promoted porn, it's like.
Incidentally,
good idea, really bad execution.
I'm assuming it's one of those things that was just basically a positive feedback loop because as soon as you pressed on there, people started clicking on it.
Yeah, algorithms kind of suck in that regard. It's definitely the algorithms. Whoopsies.
Yeah,
did you know that there's
accusations? It doesn't really come across to me as petty. I mean, at least from what I could see of it, it seems pretty genuine in its aims. I mean, it seems also like one that a lot of people who are smaller platforms would certainly love to have as a system, where you essentially get free advertising for being there. And I know that a lot of small people, that could be a really big difference if they plan on making Twitch a career.
Yeah.
For it though, it's just it's just not the execution. I guess people just always go to the more cynical answers though, but Yeah, even though I can buy people being petty, companies rarely act in pettiness because of just what sort of damage it can do. It's from those you have to really operate better on what your data set serves rather than that. And even then, it's not exactly like they left on bad terms, so it makes me feel even less so that it's pity. Especially because Switch is still doing it very well, despite Ninja's departure, so there's really even less of it to be in that one. It's just, again, comes across to me that some people just really want to buy the cynical answer to things, because when the normal answer is actually pretty obvious.
It's honestly, and it makes more logical sense than going straight down cynical/evil street.
This is honestly what really annoys me. Like, this is a simple thing that I see in the Battlefront 2 forums, though, like, when people talk about it. I agree with what you said in, like, the video when you were talking about, I think it was
taking that conference.
In that Income conference, where you were saying, like, how they were probably going to start winding down, which I do buy. I mean, they sort of just had it where this month there wasn't content one per se. There were like animated victory poses as well as new voice lines, but they weren't much all there, and the team was on vacation though. But yeah, I buy what you said, that they'll probably wind down, because since April they've been having them be like consistent. Every month we got some version of some content, and it was always to varying degrees. But that they're probably going to start winding down as time goes on. I buy that, but it's just that with a lot of people though,
never heard of the winding down. Why is that?
Battlefront YouTubers community, where a lot of them tend to add this like sort of, I think what's the word for it? I guess like this doomsday sort of thing to it, where they act like any day now the game's just going to be shut off. And like, no, you won't that
not going to happen.
Like, as far as it goes though for it, like I say though, like even when I explain to this, and they always like seem to still reject, they say like, oh, this game's probably losing money though. No, based on the content coming out, it's gaining decent money. Is it making as much as like DICE is hoping for?
Nope.
Probably not.
Probably not.
It doesn't mean that it's bad. And it feels like this is sort of a thing that happens because whenever we talk about games that get from their microtransaction services, we really only ever get exposed to two kinds of stories: the ones that make so much money that they can effectively like afford to run a small country, and the sort of ones that are making zero money. And it's like, you have nuance there. There are games that are not on either spectrum that still make enough to support them.
Either side of the spectrum. Let's point that out. That whole thing's pretty stupid.
That's really my take on it. And to relate back to Twitch, it just feels like the same thing. The only time I can ever buy someone like doing something out of pettiness would only really be if it was like some super big wrong thing, like when the case of a company like Twitch, you did something that was really financially detrimental to them. And even though Ninja was definitely a big part of the platform, I wouldn't exactly say
capturing a command
any sort of disaster.
Oh shit!
It's still doing very well. Still has a lot of people still tuning in. So really, it left on the best kind of terms that it could be. And Ninja drew no drama with it either. So really, no. I just just think that it's.
I've heard some weird things about Ninja, but otherwise, I've heard some weird things about Ninja, but otherwise, he's good.
Yeah, he's fine as it though, as it goes. Oh, sorry, GameOverThirty.
I was gonna say, even putting in video,
have lost control of a command post.
Negative circumstances, and the whole thing is just an algorithm going. I mean, anybody who's worked in IT for longer than a couple of years knows you set up automated systems all the time. And where I work with automated, and every once in a while they can get away from the curator properly. That's pretty much exactly what happened with the whole conspiracy theory of junk. It's just junk, and it's the one phrase you'll never attribute to malice, which can be explained by everyone has room for their stupidity.
It's
Handless Razor.
Handler's Razor. Do not attribute to malice, but you can attribute to stupidity or ignorance. And this isn't really an ignorance thing. It was just a system they were trying out, but just went really badly, or not to their thing. Because again, this isn't like some isolated issue. I mean, Facebook, Amazon, Google, so many big tech companies have invested millions. We're getting close to billions of dollars invested to try to get automated systems to actually work really efficiently. And even with YouTube being the biggest video platform that there is, and even with their money and resources, they still can't even really do so. So again, it's just people trying to figure out how they can make the systems they want.
Spawned on you.
Again, it's a pretty simple thing to understand. It just annoys me that so many people want to like super cynical answers, though, when the answer is actually just right in front of you.
Yeah,
It's one of the reasons I
speaking of
actually rate
stupidity,
cynicism
yeah,
as a whole,
speaking of,
because you tend to double down on it.
yeah, speaking of stupidity, guys, speaking of stupidity, Device Phosphorus Skillstick Award in the Call of Duty Modern Warfare reboot. Who thought that was a good idea?
I saw it. I guess because from all of that, you can say yes, it is a modern weapon that is still used, though, despite its war.
Yeah.
Since it technically doesn't fall under what they, to my knowledge, the Geneva Conventions of straight up outlawed weapons. So, as far as I personally don't like it, though, and I still think, though, that Spec Ops The Line kind of did a good job of just making sure, like, that stuff's not cool, but it's just sort of falls into. It's one of those things that I'm not really sure I might talk about.
Yeah.
Although the United States didn't sign that portion of the convention, because the United States claims in their usage that they use it as called cover, right? They don't.
Right.
At least the United States' position on it is that while it is harmful to combatants, we use it to cover positions. So that's why the United States didn't sign that portion.
I did not know that.
They continue to use it because they claim that they use it as a covering weapon only, like, retreating, or when they don't want an enemy to go into an area, so they'll blanket the area with white phosphorus so you don't go in there or can't pursue them. And that was kind of the United
Capture command post underway.
for not signing that part, is that their usage of it was I didn't mean the term here, don't take it literally. The
Command post has been lost.
Non-lethal usage, right? So,
Yeah.
take that as you will, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I'll have to admit, I actually didn't know any of that. And it
Me
felt like
neither.
I was doing something I wasn't knowing about this, but yeah, that's at least now something I know.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I'm not making a judgment call on it. I'm just saying that was in the way they implement it. It's not lethal. It's used as a covering device to keep people from hunkering
But it's
down.
obviously in the
And-
game going to be lethal in that case. But yeah, your point still stands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
At least I can
Alright.
understand.
I think I understand a bit more now. That
Forces
seems
have
a
lost
little
the
weird.
command post.
Has anyone heard that?
We want to have our cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
Has anyone heard about that there might be a sequel to the live-action version of Aladdin?
I heard about that after
Made $1 billion,
$1 billion
surprisingly.
on it, which doesn't really shock me though. If the movie's if the movie or game
Capture
is
of
highly
command post
financially
has begun.
successful, it's really gonna see a sequel unless there's like some really like bad thing happening or like some really complicated legal stuff
Like The
happening.
Hunt.
Like for example, the Adam West show, like that even despite it being a huge financial success, it didn't see home media release until just recently because of really huge legal issues between I think the network that had the rights to the show as well as also the people who held it, DC. And for Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it was sort of the same thing where the animation to it, people wondered why Rebels was so different instead of just more or less using the same technology. It was because Cartoon Network owned the assets to it, and so Disney for the longest time wasn't able to use them. But I guess just recently, for just coming back to the 7th and final season, I guess they managed to secure the rights to it. Either that or they just paid Cartoon Network enough to just own it for one more season. So
Which
a
makes
lot of
sense.
things
Forces
can
are
judge
taking the
sequel,
command
but
post.
unless it involves legal issues, it tends to be a given that if it's
Lost
successful,
control of
it'll
the
see
command
something.
post.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Although on the flip side, just because
Yeah.
something is not immediately financially successful doesn't mean that it's not guaranteed one either. Because companies look for just not like, oh, it didn't succeed, so we're not going to do anything. But they just pay attention to how it didn't succeed, and then depending on how it still performed, they could still continue it.
Yeah,
So there is that too.
there's a familiar
Whoop, Eureka.
that led into something like Titanfall 2. Titanfall 1 didn't set the world on fire, unfortunately, because EA bungled Titanfall 2. But it's a classic example.
Well, actually,
It set the world on
it was
fire with
Respawn that bunkered the
primary
release.
but-
It was Respawn itself that bunkered the release. From what I've heard.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
EA
it was-
also has
We've
their
lost
hand
the
with
command
the
post.
marketing with it, and yeah, its marketing wasn't really that great. So EA and Respawn both have to do it though. When it comes to any collaborative effort, you could really blame everyone as far though, because marketing teams are in both departments. But as
We are
far as
taking
it, it's just
control of a
I
command
get what
post.
the knee-jerk reaction is because everyone wants to always blame one party or another. Usually, because this is collaboration, the best benefit is that everyone gets praised, but the biggest drawback is everyone gets blamed too.
All right,
Well, they
just
were-
that will point that out.
Yeah, for sure.
And
So it's always done.
and taking a pretty there's some pretty grim news. There's been a bomb threat that was issued against Bandai Namco back in Santa Clara,
Our forces have
in
lost control of
Arizona.
When did this happen today?
It was just very recently. Not sure if it's today, but very recently.
Neither did I.
No idea if it's like a hoax or legit, but people over there are on guard. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to look into that after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really strange. It's
So 1 day ago, Bandai Namco's investigating a potential bomb threat at its U.S. office by the
yeah, that's really that not only is it really grim, it is also really weird. Why? Yeah, they're bad. They're bad, and you had to wonder to yourself, why Bandai Namco?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest one. They haven't done anything super bad of recently, or at least nothing to stir the public. So I'm kind of wondering what the goal was behind it.
They're not even commenting on it, so I'm not sure what.
We have started
Might
to
be a
capture
prank.
a command
on the
post.
validity, so right,
Yeah.
so who knows what
This is where the fun
actually,
begins.
what will come of this.
Yeah, it might
Okay.
it might be a bit of a prank.
These are not droids.
Or it might be, I don't know. I guess more information to come, I guess.
Yeah. I
Well,
hope
anyway, let's get to the stars.
Yeah. One more thing. The CBS Viacom merger.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah,
CBS Viacom?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry, I wasn't aware of this one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's just that there's going to be a merger between these two companies pretty soon. Also, I'm Obi-Wan.
Capture
Just
a
I will
command
point it
I'll
out.
wait
has
for it
begun.
to have some extra news because I tend to be with mergers unless I get really concrete information to seek out. I still remember, I think it was like last year, where everyone was throwing rumors that Microsoft was going to acquire EA for some reason, and that was
Yeah.
going to be a total hoax. So with
Really?
mergers, unless I hear concrete information, yeah, I still remember it. Now, if an update talked about it, I know that Boogie talked about it after I
Our forces have
still
lost the
subscribed to him,
command
and I saw like being like pretty big news by a lot of people saying, "Oh my God, Microsoft's looking to acquire EA," and yet it was found to be a complete
Public
hoax.
is taking
Some
control
I
of
think
the
it was some executives from EA met with Microsoft, and that was the end of it. And people just led to the conclusion that it was some sort of merger or some sort of acquisition. Which I'm like,
Yeah, it got
unless
out.
EA ends up like going against what Microsoft, they are not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. But the
If
news
there's
is
ever
legit.
an acquisition, it's one of two things. The company is so bad in finances that at this point, merger is the only thing preventing them from dying, or
Lost control of the
case
command
where the company in question that's acquiring them is offering so much money that pretty much there's nothing to go
Right.
for
Yeah,
it.
and two minor
Even though
news.
Microsoft is a
Yeah.
even though it's a highly big one, and Viacom is also a
We are
hyper big
taking
one,
control of the
CBS
command
is
post.
also an extremely big network, so to try to acquire them, it seems more money than Viacom would willingly offer.
Yeah.
Well, it
And
looks like they are.
they are what?
It is Viacom CBS now. They are.
Merger. Yeah.
They are merged. It's at least at some level. Context. Well, anyway, there's a whole article on it. You guys can Google it.
Yeah.
It is out there though. It's a real thing.
Yeah. And two minor news. First off, there's gonna be like crossplay next week for Destiny 2, which is awesome.
The crossplay, right, where you'll be able to pick up the save on other systems, right?
Yep. Basically. And yeah, that's
Well,
cool.
that's
Yeah, that's
it's cross save and cross play.
really crossplay. Cross save and crossplay. Holy shit.
Or is it not? You guys have to refresh.
It's crossplay. It's
just
cross save.
saves, or is it
I believe it's
crossplay and
yeah.
cross-save?
I believe it's just cross save.
Google the damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just wait to see for that one, but yeah, cross-play though on that one, is just a thing that's going to be there. But it looks like Microsoft is becoming more open to the idea, and I know that like they're definitely Nintendo though, since they seem cool with them. It just seems that really the only one that is only currently against it would be Sony.
Yeah, why Sony of all companies?
Their exclusivity. It seems as if like this is a obviously between the two platforms, because even though Sony is so far out exclusive, it seems like as a practice, Microsoft is from exclusives. Sure, they have their big hits like Gears of War and Halo, but it seems like aside from those two, they're not really seeking exclusives, and instead seeming to go more into their Xbox Game Pass.
I don't like where this is heading.
And that's
Let's find you a transport ship. You don't need to be a Jedi to know what those droids are up to.
Right, it's an industry.
Yeah, and another minor but good news is like NES games are going to be ported to the Nintendo Switch.
Destroy our ship, can we?
Which has been seeing a lot of porting over as well, so I'm curious to see how that goes.
Yeah, that's some interesting stuff. Looking forward to it. And now,
so anyway, let's get to the Star Citizen.
Yeah.
Because remember, I have to leave like about 2 hours roughly, since I have to go to bed since I wake up in the morning.
Yeah, and I really am sorry for the delay. That's what I get for not being for having a weird, whacked out sleeping schedule and taking a nap at the wrong time. Whoop.
It's all good, man. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
so first, tell me about what Star Citizen really is as much, because aside from very vague statements as to what the game is, I don't really know much about it other than that.
Well, I don't know if either of you guys remember, but did either of you pay any attention to when it first was like 2012? A lot of people forget it. 2012. Like it was announced like it was late. It was like third or fourth quarter of 2012. Brothers put up videos. It was like it was one of the fighters flying around. And it was like, I'm back. Give me money. I don't know.
I honestly wasn't aware
that far back.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I only heard like offhand accounts about its existence, but nothing really more concrete.
Yeah, same. And I think I heard more about it back when No Man's Sky was out.
It's so interesting about the story, because everybody has these moments where like they remember hearing about Star Citizen, and then it goes away, and then it comes back, and then it goes away, and it comes back. It's pretty typical considering it was announced in 2012. 7 years ago now, going on 8 here pretty soon. But I remember that, and I'm not joking, when I was like, this was like 2012, I was in my old house where I lived, and he showed that video, and he's like, I'm building a space game. But back then, like, space games, I think at the time, it was really the only big space game that was under announcement, essentially. I think Elite Dangerous had not been announced yet, or Elite Dangerous was going to be coming in like the next year or so announcement. But like, it was like the only space game. Like, if you give me $35 right now, you get access to everything forever, right? He's like, give me money, and like, so I was like, oh, there's $35, right? I have like the original like, pledge pack from, it was like November of 2012 or something, where he was like, I just want $35 and you can have everything, you can play the game and have this shit forever. And then
listening to this, it kind of reminds me of something when I was talking to Asking Game Dev on Tumblr about it, where he even brought up Chris Roberts, and basically said, and this news just kind of brought that, which is like, since Chris Roberts has made a lot of very critically acclaimed games, saying even though he can make games that a lot of people love, you could stick to a budget or a schedule if his life depended on it. And this thing is showing me maybe that's true.
I've heard he's not a very good producer, in other words. So, yeah,
his history of game development is actually pretty terrible. Not in terms of I don't want to downplay it. Like, if you would stack up your accomplishments, like a good column, like things he's done, and you put up like the games and stuff that you either bought out, canceled, or finished by somebody else, the games in the second column would highly outnumber the games in the first column. So it's
the first
kind of
column
one of
being the good things.
Yeah, being like, oh, Wing Commander, great. I mean,
a game that's like about I think older than me, actually. I was born in 97. I think that game came out, what, 93, 94?
Yeah. Yes, it was during the early 90s, kind of like first PC space sim kind of boom that was going on. All that at the time, right? Where like PC was the only place to kind of play that type of game. And he had the vision. He had the vision that the PC could do this kind of awesome. But after Wing Commander, Wing Commander 2, Wing Commander 3, and some of the other ones, I forget what some of the other ones were in his movie career, like he tried to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and
Stop.
for the most part, he just can't. He gets an end game, building until somebody else can do it. Stop. Well, why would you have put it out? Because we're done. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually heard a lot about Star Citizen from a YouTuber called Frederick Hudson as part of his Down the Rabbit Hole series.
Now, what did he do with it? Has he been up to date on it, or was this a while ago?
I've looked into that video like a while ago, like a year or 7 months ago, and he basically said the same place that you told me about that it had a very long development, and investors were that you had to get investors involved, that sort of thing. Which I had to wonder, how the hell did he manage to convince the investors to stick by him after all these years?
That's the question I've been pondering since I started even somewhat looking up the Star Citizen process, because it feels like at this point he would have been sued for a long time.
It's something of this magnitude is so weird too, because we haven't had something like this. We kind of went from right to the beginning to the end. That's okay, because we could do this. It's weird because something of this magnitude has never really been tested in any kind of legal way, right? Because everything,
at least as far as crowdfunding is going.
Exactly, right. Because everything is where the lines are blurred, that all of the stuff is still a donation.
All we can
Right?
do is
So
hope
you're
we bond
donating
through enough time
with
together.
a promise of something later. Because the donation is something, you don't have a ton of legal standing in terms of saying like, well, you didn't develop anything, so I want my money back. Because if you read between the lines, everything is considered a donation, and they could literally walk out in the backyard and light all the money on fire, and they could be like, well, Star Citizen's canceled, sorry. So it's and I don't know how much legal recourse people have. I don't see them doing that because I don't buy into the fact.
I don't
that some
think
people
there
say
is,
scam,
because
but
at least as far as I'm no lawyer, so I don't really like
Right,
I'm not
right.
speaking with any authority on it. But at least from how I understand, you can't really sue someone for a donation as long as the donation is going to the purpose that it's being claimed to be. So if I
Right.
ask people to donate to someone because, let's say, like my mom's in the hospital and she really needs medical bills, and if I donate the money to that, even if the operation isn't successful or even if I still can't afford it, there's
Correct,
nothing
right.
legally I can do because it went to it. But if I were to, because there actually has been legal repercussions. There was another story I saw, which was like a couple that was claiming to use the donated money for a homeless man to get him to recover, but actually they were using it for personal vacation stuff, and that actually got them into really big legal trouble a while back. So, but like, yeah, if it's something like that, where if I say like, oh yeah, like I'm building this game with it, but then it's found that actually I'm just using it to pay off like debts that I had, then actually, yeah, I could be sued for like and be in really huge legal trouble for that.
Yeah.
So really, that's for donations. That's the only thing with it, is that even if Star Citizen, like, he decides to cancel the whole thing outright, he can't be sued because it's unquestionable. Yeah, I would imagine. It's just that, like, because legally no one could sue him for anything, at least from what I understand at this point, because it's, hey, you donated to me though on this game, and even if it didn't go to it, you can't say that he didn't donate to the game because it's very obvious where the money went.
But here's what's even worse about that, and then I want to go back to some of these stretch goals that came out like 5 or 6 years ago. What makes this situation a little bit worse than some of the other crowdfunded campaigns that have gone belly up, because in some of the other crowdfunded campaigns that have gone belly up, the publisher or the developer that was working on it, typically just a little developer, has said, we're going to take the remaining funds and, you have a chance of getting some money back because we didn't spend everything. Chris Roberts has burned through every single penny that they spent. When they released the financials that came out, when he released his financials for 2 years ago, up to that point, he had burned nearly everything. They basically had like a year, less than a year left of the ability to run until they got the investor to come in, and the money was gone. So there's not even like a it's not like they can cancel Star Citizen and be like, okay, you can have your $100 back, you can have your $60 back, you can have your $30 back. There's no fucking money left. Oops. You know what I mean? There's no money left.
Yeah.
I see. He has this rated as teen, so I probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So, my bad. But
it happens.
To establish our authority here, you will be required to capture command posts. How annoying. Perhaps the drones were designed to be a nuisance.
There's no $50 back. It's done. Like he spent
it's done.
Reminder,
it's crazy.
I don't even think he has
sacrifice is what you were built for.
As you said, there's like 0 months after that offer to take out. It's completely blind.
Failure.
The whole thing is not. If you go back and you look at, I love it. In real life, part of my work.
It's why I'm in college also to start going, switch my reason as well.
Yeah.
We captured a command post.
Oh, go ahead, Nord.
Oh, I remember when one of the project managers from BioWare says, if you tell me a game of that with an infinite budget, I'll tell you a game, and I'll point to a game.
Hell yeah, show me a game with an infinite budget, and I'll show you a game that never ships. And now it feels like Star Citizen is being the real-life version of that book.
Yeah, I just thought I would point that out.
It's nutty how true it is. It's just crazy how it's hit the 7-year mark. And
7 years.
7 years.
I can't think of a single game besides GTA Forever that ever goes that far in development. Okay, there was Anthem.
GTA
5 years? 5 years, and we started hearing about Anthem back in 2017, I believe.
No, it was in 2012 that they started. I think that was looking.
Yeah.
And then in 2014, I thought they officially started production. At least if I can remember that right. So it's been developed for I think about 6 or 7 years. At least in actual development, not pre-development.
Yeah, but they have never received these type of policies that
Still 7 years and still having a very different thing. That's still really quick and crazy. It's just an idea.
for Star Citizen. Yeah.
One YouTuber, I don't know if you guys watch him. Really,
Oh yeah, I think I've heard him.
really good level-headed guy.
Yeah.
You know, kind of approaches everything with a very, like, I'm just gonna, you know, I appreciate this, I like this, or he's a very level-headed person. And he went in with, like, a completely, like, clean blank slate of Star Citizen. He paid, I think he got, like, a $45 package. He's like, I'm just gonna go in and play it. And he's like, his recording is really interesting because he gets into it and he's kind of like, okay, I see what they're doing here. This is kind of neat. This is kind of good. And then, like, I don't know, it's about 20 or 30 minutes of his review of what Star Citizen is now. And the whole game just falls apart around it. It's rather fascinating. It breaks down around it, and it's just all the numbers come out, and it's just like you're looking at it and you're going, this is the equivalent.
Insanity.
$230 million, and you can't even walk around on the planet without the game falling apart around it. And it's just
Our
like,
forces have captured a command post.
how is this a thing? Yeah. I guess I have to be fair and say the game is still technically an alpha and it's in development, right? So there's no entitlement there that the game actually be operational, but still.
The Republic is securing a command post.
Even for an alpha, that's really bad.
It is really bad for an alpha. I mean, you talk about an alpha is supposed to be. It doesn't have to be.
But it's still like fortunately a done game though, like mostly done.
The build, right? It's stability and then on it. You're adding systems and features into a stable foundation. They don't.
But the core is built, like
correct,
at least by
correct, right. Like I like to look at I'm a big fan of it's a game that is still quote unquote being like alpha beta. So when they came out in alpha, core of the game was done, like the complete game loop when the core of the game was finished, and you could experience what the game was supposed to be at its most basic level. You can't even do that. Like, you could play for like a half hour and the game falls apart. Freaking nutty.
Rolling around is a very good.
The Battlefront community often complained about the frequent bugs over this game often features, and same for Bethesda's area of games. But I swear it makes, at least from what you're describing, it makes those just look like child's play.
Yeah, Anthem and even in Anthem and Dungeon did not have that kind of problem. I should know.
Yeah, it's very strange from a project manager's
perspective.
If you go back and you look at, so like if you go back to their funding goals, you can see at the end of 2012, Robert's first posted on his funding goals, right? Like, I'm just going to read a couple of them. Ready? Okay. This is just nuts. Okay, so here's one that says, okay, for if we hit $3 million, we're going to add this $3 million to ship, okay? Right, you're going to add a ship. But if they hit $3.5 million, they're going to add fuzzy dice to cockpits? Like, what? Okay.
An extra $500,000 for fuzzy dice.
Yeah.
Wait.
And then
What?
And then we talk about shipboarding for the outboarding, right? And it's like, okay, so then what do you get if you spend? Okay, and then you get at $6 million, you get to 100 star systems. It's like there's right? Right on paper or on in Excel, and then you
didn't provide
on the website. Yeah.
Enemy forces are taking a command post.
You get to 23,000, and you get a public transportation system, and you get it's you know what it is. It sounds like somebody is like thinking of their space game in their head that they want, and then they're just writing things down. 47 million gets you an engine tuning kit?
Who you find itself?
Right, exactly. Right. It's all over the place. I'm trying to say in Kickstarter and crowdfunding games. Usually it's something like this. Like it's kind of just like an RPG.
Hostiles have started to capture a command post.
Okay, you're gonna have like characters.
Secured a command post.
Along the map, and they're gonna fight that guy. That's
You are
okay,
displaying
right?
positive traits on far-right faulty programming.
You see something like expendable number 1 is this vendor. The vendor that sells a lot of weapons or something. It's something that fits within the function of the game. And expendable number 2 is like a new map. Hey, we're gonna take the game, we're gonna add a new map to it so you can play on this map as well too. Something that still fits within the function of the game, like the new map, you know what I mean? So it's like all of these things fit within the function of the foundation of the game, and this is just like reading. It's like reading a list of things you want in a space game if you had infinite time and money.
Yeah.
Something no one on this planet has or
Yeah, it's crazy. And then he kept hiring, ramping up, right? So like we're hitting like 2014, 2015 now, and now he has like 200 employees. And now he has like 300 employees. This is at the time in like 2014, 2015, 5 years ago going. Because I still, I would download the alpha every once in a while and play it. Of course, it was completely broken, so it didn't even install half the time. That's another story.
Yeah. Oh, so what was it like? You had the alpha. What was it
so
like?
The alpha back then was just a ship module. You could basically get your ship with its hangar and like sit in your ship, and then about a year later, or so they added you could fly around in space. You could take your ship out, fly around. Just kind of maneuver the ship, right? It was basically
Our forces have gained a command post.
that's what he was selling ships, right? So you kind of follow what they're selling next to development. So they were selling ships at the time, but all of the development time and money again went into basically developing this hangar module so they could continue to develop the rest of the game inside. So yeah, that's what the game was like back then. You basically just got your ship. That was the whole game for a while, and then after that, you fly around and like shoot missiles with other people. But that was the thing to get for many years until about 2016, I think, or 2017. They actually released a space station. That was like I think 2
It feels to me like the ultimate version of systems that have good ideas but seems to have had barely much work on. I don't usually like to say that not much work into it because in any system a lot of work goes in, but at least from everything you're describing, it just feels like truly baffling how this game ever got off the ground at all.
Yeah, it's really an interesting basis of psychology too, because I'm not saying like if you play it like this
The clones have begun to capture a command post.
kind of follow the money trail, right? But a lot of people who are super invested in the idea, and when it comes to following kind of like you start to see how
it reminds me of something. You bring up that people being into the idea, and that's why a lot of people. It kind of feels like something like, as of recently, I actually even managed to find the IGN on the original Battlefront 2, like the 2005 version, in which he actually had a pretty negative review of the game, and something he said in there that stuck into me, which was referring to how a lot of the systems in the original game, while it was sold on it, there really wasn't much like people said you could board the ships, but there wasn't really anything to do on there. All you could do when you access aside from the hangar, which was pathetically small, you could access the engine room, the shield generator room, as well as also the life support room. But there wasn't really any reason to go in there, so you could blow them up from the outside. And he said in there that really it's more of the idea rather than so because of it, we're willing to forgive its imperfections. What you're saying with Star Citizen reminds me exactly of that the fan base of Star Citizen is so invested in the ideas with it that they're really willing to forgive any of the inefficiencies.
So who made this negative feel of the original Battlefront 2 game? Who was it? I kind of missed it.
You could find it. It's just it's not even on the. I don't even think it's on the official IGN YouTube page. It was just something I found online. I would suggest go checking it out. I actually found it surprising for what it is, and ironically, even he calls the original Battlefront 2 a battlefield claim as well. So I found apparently that claim was stretched even to the so-called glory days of the series. So I thought that was funny, but it's just that was the thing that stuck into me. Which was that if your idea is something that people like, they're really willing to go for it, even if the actual execution is pretty so-so. So you say you're Star Citizen for that, though. I mean, you say there's a lot of Star Citizen fans, though, which it feels like everything you described, because I haven't really seen much of the game. I've only just been able to read what other people have said and just go based off of secondhand accounts of their experience. And it sounds just like that. Like, the fans of it are just so invested in the idea that Star Citizen represents, which, I totally get. I've had that several times before. Like that.
I get it.
That are so invested in the idea that they're willing to forgive its imperfections. On a lot of games, I try to keep myself grounded in its imperfections. Like, even though it seems so, like, I usually defend Battlefront 2 all the time, I'm really not kind to its imperfections. It has plenty of technical problems. It also can still have to where the concept that would be the most one of those then again, that's not really a question itself, but rather because it just doesn't really have enough money to get the sort of things that I would personally want, and that's more of a selfish thing. But it's sort of a thing like that, though, where like, we have to keep ourselves grounded in what the things that we're going to support are, because otherwise, it's a case like this where you have a project that's just a sinkhole of money, and it doesn't really seem to get much use out of it. Even the promise goals don't really seem to be met, even though this game has received so much money and received so much time. It feels sort of like something better with it. And I'm not usually a fan of saying the game should always be better, because it really comes down to creativity a lot of the time, and just how you use those issues. But considering that neither money or time is really so much of an issue, because I've been doing BioWare or Dice or any other sort of studio that's a publisher, where someone's handing over though, and it's like, hey, we have a deadline, and you don't get this deadline, and you're going to get paid. So based on that. But since it doesn't have that restriction, it feels like it should be more refined than what actually. I feel like that's a big reason why public goods in general are so often vital and why so many people flock to them. I think that they do nothing other than just, I guess, get money. Because Star Citizen, if I were to basically say that, there's the answer.
Our forces have captured a
For a
command
publisher, Star Citizen would have gone one of two ways. Either one, it would have probably would have had a huge shift in management, because Roberts would have probably been kicked out for someone who, at least in the eyes of whoever publisher owned it, decided to try to get it on its track, or B, just cancel the game entirely. At this point, the amount of money and resources stuck into it, no one person on the publishing or producing it would have said, like, no, there was no way that I'm going to becoming this thing since you have shown no progress.
Think about it, and this thing falling under a publisher at like the 5-year, 6-year mark, then what a publisher would have done with it. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways. You hit the nail on the head. There's all kinds of different things they could have done. They could have booted Roberts, they could have booted the director on the game. They could have kind of pulled a Overwatch on it, where you just rip out the guts of work, right? And you say, okay, it's going to be like a TV light game now. You know what I mean? It would have been really interesting to see what. Obviously, we could make up whatever we wanted, but it would be interesting to see what a publisher would have done with this, say, a couple of years ago. Right? It wouldn't be where it is. The publishers overseeing Star Citizen right now. Star Citizen would not be where it is today because they would have gone in to clean the house with Robert the company. This is just, I mean, honestly, if I was CEO, and I just run the time with Robert, if one of my project managers came to me and told me I spent $230 million, I have no single dollar campaign, and all I have is a buggy out, so I have to spend absolutely unacceptable. Universe that should be open. This is a universe where right, where an executive would find what Roberts had done. Absolutely not. If Roberts said, "Oh well, I have half a million here. I need another 50 million to finish this last couple of chapters." That's a little bit of
the battlefield.
Progress. And I get the YouTube on a whole,
this was your fault.
Roberts' first pitch. There's really nothing there, and that's just the crazy part about it.
I find your
it has nothing more than
less amusing as time goes by.
Right. Correct, right, and that's it continues to fund itself on that, which is probably even the craziest.
I remember when when Mass Effect, when Mass Effect Andromeda tries to go the way of No Man's Sky. I remember that.
Yeah.
There's a reason why
procedural generation, and I understand why procedural generation was definitely a really big thing, but it seems a lot of the big heads have sort of moved away from it because it's something that allows you to get more content without really having to physically build.
Yeah, there's a reason why Andromeda dropped it.
Think about building.
They might have gone the way. Yeah, they might have gone the way of Star Citizen, but it was amazing. It's amazing that what they are today.
Again, it always comes down to we have to always make sure to understand as to how things actually work with it. That's why, like, when you saw Kaiser Metal in there, I like him. He's a cool guy, though. I really love a lot of stuff he does and using that for that. But yeah, that's why when you were saying to see that's why I recommended you as a game dev, because it's sort of we have to really understand the business sense of it, because now learning more about what you said of Star Citizen, like, that's the sort of route that a lot of people would go, and the reason that it's easy out of crowdfunding games, and I feel like really because Chris Roberts, like, route, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, it feels like that's that and the world that he had was really the main reason he was able to keep that. But as you said, though, all that he has an alpha that bugs out so badly that he can't even seem to play the game game for more than 20 or 30 minutes before it crashes, and
Right.
you have to restart it, as well as also not much content to actually even show for it, as well as also not really even being able to reach the milestones that you put out there. So it shows that independence isn't really always the greatest thing. Again, this is why a lot of people, like especially in the indie scene, why a lot of them flee to publishers so that they can try to get assistance on that, because they're aware that they could not do this themselves. For it though,
Yeah.
I'd have to imagine that Chris Roberts is still a guy who is, I don't like shitting on people though, or making assumptions about their personality, but he seems like the sort of guy who very interested that he can always do things on his own and help, and then because he's very deluded of that, he happens to
No, there's go up with
Prevent the Republic from destroying the target.
VIP double matcher. Gives the most amount of money, literally the most amount of money until it turns into an investment. In fact, I think, in the second of watch the video, he actually crossed the threshold and actually became an investor at one point. He turned on the title. He turned on Star Citizen. He actually has a 6-video series on YouTube that just kind of there the entire company, and I can't believe it doesn't have more views. When you watch his experience, you look at the money that they've spent and the things that Roberts has done, it's just like, oh my god, like this is nuts. This is like it's so hard to like watch that and then go watch like, the YouTubers and stuff who are genuinely something, and it sucks because you like see
Don't let the Republic destroy the target.
nothing to offer.
The enemy has taken out the target.
weird. It's the sunk cost fallacy. It's like if I just give Roberts it's going to be able to finish the development of Star Citizen. When he released his financials a few months back, whatever that was, in 2018, his financials, everyone should have looked at that and been like, holy crap, he burned $200 million.
This is as much as your average Marvel movie, like MCU Marvel movie.
Yeah, actually, that's why like high-end blockbuster you basically get actually to think of it. And he managed to blow through all of it, or at least almost all of it.
It has over 500 employees. And there's not a lot of
You don't have to imagine the turnout rate of this.
Fund several AAA teams with that, or as a game dev sort of jokingly called it, quadruple A games. Like when you actually start having multiple studios collaborate, that's the sort of thing that when multiple studios collaborate for a game, like Battlefront 2, I think Battlefield 5 also saw the same thing, and like other games. So like when you start where a big publisher collaborates with studios on a big thing. Like, that's sort of like what he's bringing in, though, for 500 people. Like, that's the sort of numbers we've been waiting for projects like that to make. So, for him to be able to actually do that, that's like, this just adds even further insanity. Oh my god.
How is there not a high turnover rate?
You know what, I have
okay, the fact that people need a
that.
job, I think is that one, is the biggest one, because it's like, I really need this job, so they stay with it. It's unfortunately, in America anyway, it's a big reason why people stay with companies, even if they don't like them, because it's like in your case, you have a wife, you have a big, I don't know if it's a son or daughter, you just pay in general, so it's like, you have a kid about it. Yeah, a kid so very often, I know sometimes you would stay with a company even if you didn't like them, because you have responsibilities that you have to. It's not just you in the picture, it could be other people, and so you have to stay with them.
It's one of those things where I'm sure if you look at it from a perspective. So a developer there, like if let's suppose I was a project manager, and I would actually be a project manager, start
This is all your fault.
As long as the money was still coming in, Robert was paying me, and I enjoyed my work, I would, even personally, I would probably say, okay, I'm going to stick this out for a couple years, see where this game goes. But it's definitely one of those things where I think, and there's been some hints of this on different blogs and message boards, people that have left or interviewed, like particularly with Forbes, they were doing that interview with them. They're like, I stuck it out for a couple years, but eventually even I was just like, all right, this is getting too nuts for me. You know what I mean? There's a limit to some of that. There's a limit to some of people's willingness to do so. But I can definitely see, even from a personal perspective, if I worked there and I was getting paid well and the money was still coming in, yeah, if it gave me a chance to be in the industry for a couple of years, I'd probably stick it out too. But then after a while, the wheels start turning. You start thinking, I'm not so sure about this anymore.
Yeah, I could see that too. I think it just in general is just, again, especially since a big topic in the industry is about job security, though, since a lot of people end up usually fear layoffs, though, especially if a project ends up going sideways. So usually I just see devs who usually stick with jobs of just whatever they can. So in the case of Star Citizen, it just seems like if that's the only thing you've got, you just stick with it unless you find another opportunity.
If he's paying, he could be paying well too. I mean,
yeah.
I'm
just astonished there isn't a high turnover rate for something for a game that's barely stable. That's amazing.
Well,
and crazy.
And
like
honestly, it's kind of surprising that this hasn't gotten anywhere near as much press as like you're describing, because it seems like if this was something that was bungled, like if it was like an EA or Activision or Ubisoft or hell, even Nintendo, like if it was under any of their, it feels like this would be a story that would be like a major talking point, even to this day from back then though. But surprisingly, very little is talked about with this though, even though it reveals a stunning amount of reasons as to how the industry often functions as it does though, especially when it comes to why deadlines are held so well. Like, at least from what I've been doing in my project management like classes though, I'm still taking a lot of the basic ones before I get into the headlines into those. At least from what I could read up there is that even though deadlines at least are something that are somewhat flexible, and obviously you have to also, when doing them, plan in advance for in case things go wrong. But in this really kind of sounds just, we were trying to get a date on this one, but we're a little bit delayed. This is more of a, we went to the deadline and we're not even a quarter away from this, but we have more time. Among other things, like as to why that is, and especially for budgeting though, why it's so important to keep on top of how much money you're getting. Because at this point though, like as you're saying here though, you have an alpha that barely works, you have only a small selection of chips to choose from, and the things you add to these when you add the milestones don't remove like a fuzzy pair of dice. I mean, all that though, and you're burning all this money, but it's not looking like it's improving the game at all though. I mean, honestly, it's just more of a question of like, where is it going? Again, this is the reason why like people like producers, as I often employ it. I mean, sounds arrogant because I know that I'm hoping to be a producer in this, but at least if we're into it, this is why producers are so important to a project, because they keep it on track and they are like, look, Miss Roberts, I understand that you really love the idea, it's good, but what you're doing is not feasible. We have to get this, we gotta rein this horse in and get it like,
hold your horses there. I can't hear myself. Hold your horses, everybody. Hold your horses.
Sort of like that. Yeah, sort of like that, basically. And it's just like, yeah, that's fourth though. And it's just crazy to me to think that this isn't something that's way bigger though, because so far, the few times I even heard of it, it was just offhand comments. Like, I know that Yang talked about it once or twice because it was like some ridiculous shit price, but that was about it though. Like, he's only brought it up a couple of times, even though the confidence there in it. I mean, in the games industry, I very rarely think that a lot of those companies would rather just these set of problems that are like not even like something creative, but just how the project goes, but just weren't able to, like in the case of the Andromeda fiasco, where it looks like a really understandable, even a frustrating set of circumstances. People who had wide aspirations and ideas, but ended up just unfortunately just went down the gutter because of very huge technical complications, as well as also leadership issues, is why we're obviously highlighted with, and among all these things. But Star Citizen has all that, but dials the amp to 11. Nobody's really talking about it anymore.
Why isn't anybody talking about it? Why isn't taking a
job yet? He's talked about it. Yeah. He has not brought it up in any major context. So it's a big why is because it feels like it's just any major publishers at hands, it would have been brought up. Hell, John Jackson brought it up way more than he covered Star Citizen, despite Star Citizen being a way bigger piece of a fuck up than Andromeda could have even hoped to be.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have said that to you. Sorry, I sometimes swear on
Next time it'll be AO rated, it'll be fine. But no, I mean, in the case of Andromeda, I think what happens is our finished games right? You have a lot of these issues that analyze things. It's very difficult for much media landscape and stuff like this in the industry to analyze an unfinished game.
I just want to let you all know I just got ran over by a clone trooper driving a speeder. I'm not sure if you saw that.
I did see that. That was very nice.
It's one way to get rid of a droid.
Bigger media analyzing unfinished game.
Yeah, it's just easy to analyze unfinished game. Right? It's just easy to comment and whatever terms you want to use. Analyze, attack, criticize, something that is complete.
Our forces have lost control of a command post.
It's just easier to go after.
Enemy attack.
How does that? It's like with Youngblood. How does a game that didn't do so well compared to the other games ruin a series?
Well, it comes to this.
That's another.
Yeah, exactly.
I even asked someone on Twitter that, like, how does one game ruin the rest of the series that much?
Well, it's general, I hate to use the term quote-unquote gamer culture, right? But, like, you can't, the newest game in the series represents the series, right? It's always been a problem. The series becomes defined by
Republic is taking control of a command post.
Look at Mass Effect 3, right?
Hell, look at Fallout, though. People insist that 76 ruined the franchise.
What?
Like, yeah, I thought Fallout 4 did that.
Yeah, right.
Or, and the Bible turned this around with the extended cut DLC. What the hell are they talking about?
Again, I always love this bit of history because I do this all the time when Fallout comes to the topic, where people talk about how 4 or 76 was the worst. I'm like, hey, I still remember when you guys considered New Vegas a huge knockoff of the game. Oh, and now you guys are calling the best Fallout.
Yeah.
And Obsidian has 18 months. 18!
Command post is no longer under our control.
Oh, that's how long
Yep.
Yeah, it was on there. In general with Vegas, I felt like nowhere near as bad. Where it had a lot of great ideas in place, but very shoddy execution. Like the reputation system. I think the idea of a reputation system was great. You buddy up with certain factions or enemies of certain factions, and that they react to you in the very supportive do. So if they like generally like you, they'll do some small stuff, maybe they'll associate with them, give you a slight discount. Maybe if like they really like you, they'll do some extra stuff like, hey, we'll also like you forces or something like that, or just however it goes. But the reputation system felt like something that wasn't finished, and aside from the NCR, it feels too easy to get idolized by factions.
And
like the
it's very easy. It's very easy to be vilified by the
Oh yeah,
Legion.
vilified too. I only have to kill like a few people and they consider me like the worst thing ever. And for idolization, it's like, really it's like the leader of the followers. It's like, all I did was give you 12 medics and 12 fixer, and apparently I solved your medical issues. It doesn't sound like it was that much of a problem if that's all I had to give you.
That's
it's
just
like that, and it's like, I fixed the water pump for you guys. Okay, so now you're giving me my own last coat. I'm a member of you guys, and you're giving me a safe house. Or in the case of Brotherhood business, I did some tasks for you, and then I set up a relay at Black Mountain. Okay, so I'm a full member. I'm a paladin even. I get my own set of power armor, and I get a safe house. So all I have to do is just do a few tasks. The great con is where the second one with the game, where the NCR is the only one that actually reasonably feels like you actually know what I'm talking about. Where it feels like you're sort of only in the NCR where it feels an actual true progression. Where to get idolized, you have to do pretty much most of the quests that the NCR is affiliated with to really do so. And it also felt like a case of playing too safely because despite the fact that the NCR and the Great Khans are mortal enemies and same for the Brotherhood of Steel, being idolized by the NCR doesn't take their version of it, even though by the logic of the game, they should despise you for it. Like, oh,
The worst that you get are just some mean comments, like mean comments from
no issue with you going into our camp.
Yeah. Yeah, what?
So it feels like a case of that. I mean, Star Citizen does those things for way worse ones, but it does remind me of things that other games did, though. It's just that it just amplifies you of something that's truly baffling to do, one that I never thought could be managed. But I think that my management was more than you didn't think this could be managed under a publisher because this would never fly under any publisher. Like either it would have been canceled or, like I said, in some major way, it would be defined. But under crowdsourcing, one does. Usually gets plenty of flack though, usually as for just not reaching its goals or just not staying on top of things. But no, this amplifies all of that to just, again, a completely baffling degree as the things that could possibly happen.
When you look at you rate the emotional aspect of whatever sunk cost, the person may have with the game. When you look at it from a purely objective standpoint, it is not in a good position, and I've seen, and I think this is just the thing where I go and I watch the very first YouTube. I want to make sure
Hostiles are securing a command post.
that I'm not like going off the rails. Oh yeah, it makes sense, right? Like, so I'm gonna go see these guys, right?
We've lost the command
Right,
post.
and I want to go see this where I can be wrong, and go see that they're making that was wrong. And generally speaking, there's wrong. They spent a lot of very, and I don't want to say wrong, but what's the word of them? Supporters, yeah. They're advocates. There we go. That's a good term.
All right.
Advocates of the game say is like they constantly pull up the GTA 5. They say, look, GTA 5 took, I think it was nearly 10 years of
The
total
command post is
development,
now under our control.
and it had over 1,000 working on it. Right? That's what they constantly point to as the proof, quote unquote, that Star Citizen is not behind a schedule for a game of its magnitude. In fact, if you compare left to right, they say, it would actually be ahead of schedule, bigger than GTA 5. So
how is
more people in more time to get with GTA 5.
so? Are they saying that they get things faster because it's bigger?
That feels
Our forces
really
have taken control of the
stretched
command
kind
post.
of defense for it though. I mean, usually I find a lot of defenses for people of games that they love valid, but that feels like it's really because even on that one, GTA 5 did not sell an alpha that was just completely broken. And even its multiplayer when it released, despite the flack that it got, it wasn't really, at least from my experience when it launched, functionally the game was fine, but the biggest
So they honestly, so basically, they say that the bigger the game, the faster it'll be completed. Is that what they're saying? Because first, there is a lot wrong with that, and like Alexis said it. The
That's what they're trying to say. They're like, look, I found an equipment, right? So it's fine. But look at this here, so it must be fine. But I'll let you guys finish. There is a ton of problems with that argument. Go ahead.
yeah, it's like what Alexis said. Like GTA 5 did not have an alpha that crashes every 20 minutes. And just because we throw more bodies at a bigger game, it does not guarantee success. It does not guarantee a game. All you're just doing is just like, I don't know, just delaying whatever is incomplete.
Right.
I mean, for GTA 5, I'd say from my perspective, because I'm a person who played, I really dug the single-player campaign. Multiplayer was good, but it felt like there was just too much of it for me to want to catch up on, so I just played a little bit of the intro of it. But even when I was in the beginning, because I was watching my brother play a lot of it, functionally the game was fine, though. There wasn't any major hiccups or bugs with it, though. The biggest problem, though, was that the economy was just utterly sucked. I still remember that it was so bad that the game was decided to actually hack the game and give themselves like millions, I think it was even like tens of millions of dollars because there was just no way to so-called best paid jobs. This is before
Yeah, right.
heist into the where like the best paying jobs would maybe give you a little over 1,000, but the cars and guns that were being asked for, especially the ammo costs, would be like so tremendously high. But really, when that's why a lot of people because the economy was just so terrible, like really rapidly. So even still, I wouldn't put that on par with Star Citizen because at least it's functional, which is a far better step up, at least what you're describing it to be.
Well, that was, we actually make a really good, you might not be getting intended to, we actually made a really good point there about just in terms of delivering the game. So if you go back and look at the timeline, there was never actually, as the game that actually does talk about this, on one of the things that 1,000 people never worked on at the same time. That's one of the big flaws. Oh, no, Star Citizen is fine. 1,000 people on it. No. GTA 5 never had 1,000 people on it at one time. 1,000 people touched the game itself. But it never at any time.
Oh no, you're gonna run over me again.
Held up 1,000 people for a continuous project.
Correct. Right. It was like 200 at this time. Then those 200 people were done with the animation system or the world. So then
Yeah.
200
But and I have to point out the turnover rate. You said that Star Citizen did not have much of a turnover rate, whereas something like GTA 5 has a bit of a turnover rate, and with 1,000 people clicking on the game at one point, it just really doesn't.
turnover too, right?
It just doesn't really add up with the reasoning
It's
of.
just inevitable though, with it.
It's just.
Yeah, I mean, something like GTA 5 is going to burn people out. I mean, that was pretty
because you also have to keep in mind when Rockstar builds a game, I mean, for better or worse, they build their games to last. The sort of games that are going to be around for years upon years until some other title comes in. Even though Red Dead Redemption 2 is still doing super well in player numbers, I mean, GTA 5 is still going to keep being supported regardless because it's pulling in boatloads of money. I just recently checked on the most played games on Xbox just recently because I like checking to see where games are staying in. It's just right before Fortnite on Xbox. So this is a game that is putting out money like madly, and GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2 is only like barely, not even too much under. I think it's like
there is a concern
but it's also on that one. It's going to be like tremendous revenue as well as player design. So for that, like when they build these games, they build to last. That's why there's even though there's a lot of actual like criticisms to be levied, how they treat their employees, especially the work hours. Even still, it's undeniable that from Rockstar's work stuff, though, unlike a lot of other ones, they sort of like Blizzard in a similar sense. They build their game store. When they build it, it has to last like for a really long time, almost like a decade before they start going to a new project.
Yeah. And how is that the same project like what they're going to end up?
Oh, I remember when when Rockstar had some purchase problems, and recently I've heard that they have already worked on solutions for that. I remember that.
Yeah, I saw they're like now they're hiring contractors. In general, there's a position of the industry that is one I don't like much. The industry relies on contractors. It feels like a way of just basically sidestepping so that you can just pay the people because it's much cheaper to give someone a little extra cash than it is to actually pay for benefits like healthcare, dental, as well as also the other benefits that come with it. So that's like an actual criticism, and I'm glad that Rockstar is addressing it. But back to what I was saying before. Yeah, it's just a more thing to compare to because whenever it comes to games, you also have to really consider the intent of it. Like, I still remember, like, when Acme that I used to follow, where I thought he was smart at the time, where he was trying to say as to why he considers Blizzard, like, the best game development company, which, okay, as far as if that's a good argument, considering they're, like, a freaking unicorn of the industry, like, at this point, like, most, even he doesn't really much understand how they can get away with the things they do. But from there, like one of them was like how companies always push out a whole bunch of games before they stick to the last one. But really, the ideology is not exactly what makes it good, but more so, as I say, it's all about the execution though. And really, it's just that for a lot of people though, it's just a lot of people don't really stick to a game forever, which is the main thing with it.
Right.
That's why a lot of people who want
Probably to
titles
be
do.
expected.
Yeah, like people can do. Like I was like, even for Battlefield 2, I guess we're playing now though. Like I was hardcore in that game since launch, even until like very recently though. Like every day I was playing it, but now I've sort of toned down from it. Really, just because I just want to go for other games that I do for so hard.
Yeah, that's fair.
From that, and for a lot of people, though, it's just that they also want to go and stuff other games though. Rather than focus on the one. So I don't feel like every company should be this rush because they want to make yearly titles, or at least like release titles semi-regularly.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, though, it's just sort of that they want to go to a particular company, not the sort of one that's just going to effectively be like continued until, I guess, the consoles that they will work on either vanish or unless we all human race goes away.
Right.
Sort of like that.
Oh shit, Obi-Wan's after me, Obi-Wan's after me.
Like, and also it's just not the biggest thing. Because again, it's as you said before, like in the same case of risks, people always remember the success stories, but everybody forgets the failures that those successes stood on the backside. That's why I always say any success story you see, it was built on the backside. I mean, failure is maybe the harsh word, but it's honestly true.
The target was successfully defended from
yeah.
the enemy.
Games will borrow the ideas until they perfect it. We did it. Look what we did. I mean, Blizzard's probably one of the best people at that.
Yeah, with their Titan game, what started out as Titan now became Overwatch.
Yeah. With that though, and they've obviously had massive success with, I know that Diablo 3 had a launch that while it was financially successful.
It was financially successful, but there were problems. Era 37, I believe it was Era 37, 57.
Not a problem.
Yeah, but now it's been something that's fixed. And again, it just comes to that. I mean, when Bethesda had their infamous Horse Armor DLC, it basically informed how a lot of people in the future ended up making DLC later. And then with the Battlefront loot box fiasco, it led to a lot of people learning how to not construct it for labor. This is why I personally don't get personally failures though, because I see failure as always the best opportunity for learning. The best way to ever learn on anything, of anything ever, I know that was redundant, is always to fail at it. Failure will always teach you things that successes pretty much never can. It also teaches you that
something that The Last Jedi has explored quite well.
Like, now, to be fair though, failures do not automatically mean someone's going to learn the right lesson. Even recently in my personal life, this is really more of a good relationship story, where even though there was a lot of information from them, I was having a lot of friends who reasoned with me, saw that it's just that I was viewing them through the wrong lens, I was taking away the wrong lessons. It is that small to consider whenever you do these things. So I would say there is that, but on the whole, I feel like that failures are still by and large the best way of learning how to move forward.
Like, again, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi explores these things quite well. I'm surprised no one can talk about
it. Regardless of that, that's just how I feel. I mean, sure, I do think that with failures, we should harp on them like they're really bad, like in the case of the Star Citizen business, because, like, it's just, I don't like every single competence, because usually I find that obviously it's being developed is a really complicated thing, and especially when you're on your own like he is, it's even more so difficult because you don't have people to manage with it. I can get that, but even still, it's incompetence no matter what direction I could look at it in that business. And yeah, I think that the failures, even if there's many we can glean from it and learn from it, that he should still be harshly criticized for a lot of what's there.
Hey, do you want to try a different mode?
Yeah, let's do a different mode.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bored.
When I played
GameOverThirty?
Well, when I played this on PC a lot, I loved Starfighter. I don't know if you guys play Starfighter, but I thought Starfighter was fantastic. And it eventually got to the point where there was nobody playing it, and that was the day that I uninstalled it, because I loved Starfighter. Because it was just, I thought it was so cool. I thought they did a great job.
Well, good news for you, we're going to do Starfighter.
Woo!
Alright. I never honestly played Starfighter again. PC was never really my thing, so games that were exclusive or mostly known in that area tend to elude me unless they were like really big hits that everyone knows about.
Yeah. And do you know what's surprising about so I've been playing
the mode on Starfighter for Battlefield.
I'm talking about the mode in here.
Yeah.
I love Starfighter in here, man. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the most underappreciated modes in this game. In fact, I thought it was so good. that if somebody had actually taken the time to do so and maybe got the development cost down to a level that was appropriate, they could have made an entire mode out of it, like a competitive Starfighter mode, but a little bit of wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah, I totally could buy it because it was always the most fun thing with it. I just eventually stopped playing it because it received no support after Dakar was released,
I know.
which is
Yeah,
quite a
it's
shame
like-
though, because it feels like this is the game mode that could have been like the most, at least even just from a development standpoint, one of the easier maps to make. Because when you're making a ground assault one, like say whether it's a small scale one like Kessel, a large one like Prey or Geonosis, or even one like Capital Supremacy, we'll be having with Felucia come fall. Like, there's a lot of technicalities with it because it's ground terrain, you have to work a lot of that out. But with space, there's a lot more freedom because you're moving around with it, to where there's a lot less work involved, at least from what I can observe. So it seemed like it would have been awesome.
Usually less assets. There's usually less assets that you have to assemble in the environment because you're
that's what I figured. Yeah, I figured as much. It's yeah. Do you know what's? I know this is off topic, but I'm kind of surprised that Sims 4 is like very successful. There was a bit of backlash
Well, on Star Citizen though, or are we kind of done with that one though? Because I think we kind of talked about.
There was one comment I wanted to make there, was that it was funny that you mentioned like success and failures, because Roberts, out of anybody, Chris Roberts more than anybody should be able to look at his own history. And you talked about looking through the lens of like your own eyes, right? Where like you're trying to analyze your own past, your own success, your own failures. Roberts seems completely unable to look at like where he's made mistakes in the past and be like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. This time around when I build a game, I'm going to, and I'm just going to make this up as I go here, I'm going to build the single player mode, right? And then kind of like what GTA 5 did, I'm going to release the multiplayer mode as basically just like an alpha beta, and I'm going to build that up over like 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 years, right? Kind of like GTA 5. But no,
It's an ambush.
he's approaching
All
this
Republic
entire
forces
thing like he
prepare for
has
attack.
every single other project in his life. He's trying to build the entire thing from start from A to Z all at once, and then hand it over to people and say, here you go. And it's just this recipe. It's just like this basically this I don't know if it's going to be a disaster for failure because we're not there yet, but it's just a very, if you're going to build something and you want to build it right, you don't try to build the top of the building first, you try to build the bottom of it first, and then you try to build on that. But he just seems incapable of looking back at his own development skills or his own project management skills and saying, wait a minute, maybe trying to bite off the entire universe in terms of scope might be a bad idea.
Yeah.
So I know that's just kind of my
scope down from what you're doing. Try to ground yourself in reality. Again, that's what you said. That's why project managers and producers are so very vital to it. Because any game that has ever had huge like production issues, though, like Star Citizen had or Duke Nukem had,
it's the same story every time.
Because people were just not being on top of it, or it could be like things like in Star Citizen where someone's trying to bite off way more than they can chew.
Here's the little experiment. Go back to any of the recent game failures. Any of them. I don't want to say. I try to use the term failure loosely because I still think some of the, like whether it be No Man's Sky or Anthem, regardless of where they are today, right? Because I think both of those games are.
We'll just go with what people consider failures, though. Games that were either critically or commercially not successful.
Right. And go back to their stories. So any of the stories that any of the industry analysts and pundits and reviewers broke, erase the term whatever the game name was, and literally insert the term Star Citizen into the story, and it reads exactly like Star Citizen is today, with development meandering all over the place. There was no decision makers in the rooms making decisions. There was rework of multiple systems. These common occurrences like that I just mentioned are the exact things that come up in nearly every single high-profile quote-unquote failure in the industry. And if you go to any of those stories and you literally replace the name of Star Citizen, you just sit there and you're just like, oh my god, it's the same thing. And it's crazy when you look at it from that perspective, because you begin to kind of take yourself out of the emotional aspect of it, and you go, wow, well, this is kind of a mess. But anyway, that's what I would tell people to go do who are like, no, Star Citizen is fine. It's like, no, go read the failures of the big name failures in the past 5 years. You'll see why they failed, and you're going to see the same thing that Star Citizen is meandering through. It's
much worse.
Ooh.
Yeah, like you said, cranked up to 11.
Yeah. why didn't anybody look at what happened between the lines for Star Citizen? Like, and basically, ideas. It's the idea that drew people in, and they had no idea what went down behind the scenes.
For many people, you just have to find what is the idea that they are the most clingy to, at least from what I've been able to understand through looking at college and even just researching with it, is that at least for a game, if you tell them an idea that really, really speaks to someone, they'll more or less put all of their support behind it, even if a lot of the groundwork the idea is being based on is pretty shoddy.
Yeah.
You guys don't have to wait in this mode, because this is exactly the reason I actually uninstalled the version. Is because everyone abandoned Starfighter. My favorite mode in this game.
That really sucks. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
it's just that the biggest problem is that it didn't get any support. No new maps have been made for it, and nothing else for it. So people are like, okay, well, why will I stick here if I can just play the modes that are getting support? Which is the main unfortunate thing with it.
We can try the hero mode, the hero version of Space Battle.
You can.
It was almost a self-fulfilling prophecy too, because it was just a positive.
A lot of trends are self-fulfilling prophecies if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's just thanks for all that though. Yeah, that's just a crazy thing to really see. I mean, I've seen some crowdfunded horror stories here and there, and even if I didn't think they were the ones that would be like, oh my god, what? It's more of a, man, that really sucks that it went in though, or at least happened the way it did. Like a lot of people shit on Mighty Number 9 because it never lived up, because even though it had a functional game, even though people were, at least to my knowledge on it, though, pretty harsh on it, where people were just instead, trying to work what the word is for it, and also because they promised box art that really wasn't ending up being to the specifications, but at the very least, they completed it in the way that they were trying to do so, even if it wasn't maybe good. I haven't played it, so I can't judge for that. Even if I could say that it wasn't good as far as playing it was, at least it was actually shipped, which as far as I'm concerned is kind of enough for me though.
I mean,
because as far as crowdfunding games go, most of those things do not end up actually being the success though. So if you can even ship one, you're pretty much a step ahead of virtually everyone else. Hell, even many major studios even struggle to give out.
Shadowhawk, I'm doing he was Space Battle mode. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there. So that's sort of like what you were saying there.
There you go.
It's just sort of it's just in general.
Ironically, the hero version of Space Fighters does get support.
That's where everybody went.
Pretty much.
Only 8 slots needed, right? Because it's 4v4, correct?
Yeah.
Exactly, only 4v4.
Yeah.
So it's like from all those.
Yeah.
Things. So, I think there's definitely a lot of things that can be gleaned from it, and I do hope that a lot of people take notes. Someone
on Mixer. Okay.
Would like to see.
Not to interrupt, but Power Contagious from Mixers is. What about Felicia? I don't get it.
Felicia? What about it?
Felucia. I honestly don't get it.
They said that at Gamescom on the 25th, they'll talk more about this company as well as content, and they'll be saying what exactly is going on there. But it's mainly campus saying whether it's something that'll be
Don't make me destroy you.
I'm not sure. But most likely it's just going to be there. It's simply talking about whether it's there. If I were to predict, probably going to do something that is trying to provoke that. Maybe going towards season possibly, but we'll talk about there. So it's just more of guesswork. And I think it's mainly because they wanted to get around something because the last time they did this for the first roadmap happened, it was like either late June or early July. Where they actually did release a full roadmap, where they were ending up putting specifically capital supremacy itself, like getting delayed. So they prefer to keep things out so they actually know when they're doing it. And always with that security it's been the 3 words, and that's usually why I usually end up announcing that very shortly before they're there. Oh no, there was a thing that we wanted to do, but it's been delayed, and like the developer streams, which they were wanting to do for Battlefield 5 and Battlefront, but it seems that they wanted to. A lot of people are looking for it. Honestly, I think it's silly because it's how a dev studio, at least from what I can see there, that they just don't have to, or just things just don't go to plan. Take the damage. I personally don't see the video personally go to plan unless like it's a really good plan. But otherwise, if it's something that hasn't been cost to me, I'm just like, look, I understand things change, things don't go the way we want to. Like, it's just a thing that happens, though. And even though it's a thing you wanted to do and weren't able to, it's fine with it, honestly. And even then, I already get the feeling that the reason that a lot of people in that community are like are very angry about that is particularly because they were hoping that with any stream, like I know BioWare was doing Anthem streams. I don't know if they're still doing them now.
I think they're doing them. They're doing them when
questions that are related to future content. I know that even Anthem actually had a similar thing where I think one of the managers accidentally slipped something and then he had to like stop the stream and I remember on that. And so that's why I also think that the on the like developer streams, is that people are expecting it to be some opportunity where they're just gonna just casually drop, oh yeah, here's the content, whatever.
Yeah. Stories. They put them out in public eye, and they force them. They don't use that term loosely. They force them.
Easy come, easy go.
Right? I mean, it's a really strange thing to watch it. And some of them are really doing it.
It's like the last job I'll be taking for a while.
I'm always like, how much?
Annihilate them!
If me being a producer kicks off after I do my project management stuff in college, I'm probably going to lock my Twitter account and have like just you guys or whoever I feel like adding afterwards, because like I do not want to be in the spotlight, because I do plan on working on AAA games, or at least that's the goal if it goes out well. And like I do not want to be one of those guys who says like something about it, because I will admit I am terrible at PC a lot of the time, unless I do some really big stuff like actually trouble. But like otherwise, I admit I tend to be bad with it, and especially if it's some PR disaster and like everyone tries to find like, oh, what are these? Who's a person who's worked on this game at some point, or hell, even if I didn't work on it, if I just worked with the same freaking company, like Sam Maggs had though, like when the Mass Effect Andromeda shit happened, even though she had absolutely nothing to do with it, oh, she was part of the wasn't working for
I remember that. That doesn't make any sense. Why would they go?
We did so much as you lose your eyeballs and just looked at what she was she's working for BioWare Edmonton and not Montreal. Even Jennifer Hepwell can't take much more. Had that same issue where it was so bad that people something about combat and a lot of people about it. So they just decided to use the work, even though she never worked on Mass Effect 3, because that was the thing a whole bunch of gamers were being pissy about. And it's just like, dude, guys, freaking seriously, she just said that, and you guys clearly didn't even do the slightest research. Like, I feel as an example, just like say to these people, like, let's just say, since movies is also a thing I'm wanting to work on as a producer, and let's just say if I go to work at Wal-Mart, let's wind the clocks back and say to 2018, and let's just say that if Aquaman, like, whatever your thoughts on it, was just like a total, like, bomb of a thing, both critically and commercially, and then trying to go to me to it, and the only thing that gave you that lead was because it said I would work for one. So it's like, well, I could be working on movie that supposedly is in the works. No, I may not be working on other things. I could be working on some other movie that has some better else. Yeah, you're just coming to for that. And that's usually like people treat like all the movies that are from this film. It's really the games that people treat the developer as effectively a PR agent. It's so bizarre for me. It would be going to the people who are in charge of that.
I've always thought. I mean, I think they sometimes stick them out there because of the people that are closest to the product, but they just get absolutely. I would use a different term. Normally, they actually get hammered on streams and everything, especially when the games are going well. And it's like, why are you sticking them out there? Don't throw them out to the viewers. Pull back. you can put some official updates together, and you can either just post it on your games page, or you can post it on. Don't put these guys out.
Oh, hey! Shadow did really well.
At least
What
from
happened?
what I
Oh yeah,
have
very
seen,
nice.
So at
Very
least from
nice.
what I understand, it's just that unfortunately a lot of gamers don't tend to care what the actual official word is because they always consider it fluff, and so they always try to go to the developers because they think that they're going to get quote the real word or the real truth or whatever from the actual people, so they always go and harass them. And yeah, it just feels like a scummy thing with it because again, this is why I'm always further regardless of however someone could like or criticize for it though, it's why I'm so glad that I can't actually really hate something though. Like even like in like for games, I can't think of a game I straight up hate like off the top of my head. Games I think are bad, sure, but not really.
Right. I can't think of a game that I actually hate either off the top of my head.
Like, I mean, even though you claim to not really like Youngbloods, but you just showed ambivalence to it though, like not really the sort of thing that
it's like and even, right? It's like you know, it's whatever.
Yeah, and just from that though, because even if I like saw a game that I truly thought was just like bafflingly bad, I couldn't ever go after a developer for it because it's like there's this thing I often dislike where, like, I still remember from acting on the same one just because Bungie, years back when they were doing Halo, frequently did bit docs on their procedure, and just because they admitted, yeah, you know, it just things didn't go as the way we planned because Halo 2 was actually, like, contrary to what a lot of people don't remember, is that it was very mixedly received, though. People loved the multiplayer, but the single player was considered, like, utter garbage at the time. Oh, what do you know? Now it's considered the best Halo.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, that's kind of funny, and it is the game that we received like remastered cutscenes.
Massive flack. I still remember though, like even from what I was able to glean through the past history and articles, that game was hammered on release though. Like again, it's always a funny thing when I see games that are beloved now, and it's always when I even just do a cursory glance at its history was largely mixed. And it's like these people want developers to effectively like publicly shame themselves, say like, oh yeah, the things didn't go in there, and they have like the really sad faces and blah blah blah. You guys get the picture.
Yeah,
something like that. Though.
Do you want to hear something funny? Do you want to hear something funny about Halo 2? It is one of the is the only remastered game in the series that received like a do-over with the cutscenes.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, they did do the HD, or not HD. They actually redid the cutscenes for that, right? There were totally
it was
right.
Originally in Halo 2, the normal one, it was just like the in-game engine, like this. What's in the game was also in the cutscene, whereas the cutscenes use more or less like photorealistic as opposed to the game that uses just, you know, what it is. And the cutscenes were entirely redone by
Edge.
What's that studio's name?
Blur, I believe. It's Blur.
Yeah,
Blur
Studios. Was there a particular reason? Because I remember when I got the MCC way back when it first came out, and I had never experienced Halo 2 Remastered before. I remember playing through Halo 2 again and just being like, why does this game have ultra remastered cutscenes, but the other games don't? I didn't know if that was because I didn't follow Halo too much at the time. I played the games, but I wasn't like a big follower. I didn't spend any time on the forums.
You played the games, but you weren't keeping up with communities and things like that. You were essentially like a with it.
And I meant right, and I was playing, and I was like, what? Why are these cutscenes remastered? Was there a story behind that I don't remember? Was there a story why Halo 2 had remastered cutscenes and the other ones didn't?
Not that I ever gleaned from it. It's just a thing 343 wanted to do for it, though, since that was something that they just wanted to try out. So
they just threw it out to somebody and said, just go ahead and do this for Halo 2 or whatever.
I guess. But anyway, back to what I was saying earlier. But
sure, go ahead.
It's just it seems like the sort of thing that, like, what I see with Ackman, because he tries to act like, especially what makes it more funny, where he's just like, look, anytime with Halo 2 that you see a problem, it's time constraints. Name me a single game that has never had time constraints as a problem for them, because I have yet to see a game that has not had that as an actual thing holding it back, though. That's the thing, and again, because because trying to say like, oh, like nobody was more dissatisfied than Bungie themselves with it. I have yet to see a developer from what I could find on social media or any other sort of platform that I could find, where whenever it came to a game that was considered, as you said, like a failure in this quote unquote kind of thing to it, not a single one who has not said like, look guys, we tried our best, things didn't go the way we wanted to. Like, I still remember that it's always, and even Jennifer Schruler, I can't say her name, she's a lead at ArenaNet, who even said that I have yet to meet a developer who was ever fully satisfied with the project they made, even the ones that were actually good.
Yeah.
There's always some small way developers feel like, man, I could have made it better if I just did this, but it will always be the same. We didn't have time to do it.
What's really interesting is I was watching today the interview with the Infinity Ward team that's working on Call of Duty, and they did the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and they said something really interesting to me, or not to me, to the interviewer, and they were talking about, the one developer was saying that this is the first project that he's ever worked on. This is actually a really good thing, because I've been part of both projects in my time, and this is the first game that he's been on in a long time where the development has been this proper, consistent ramp up from beginning to end. It didn't do the traditional, and I hate to use that term, but it didn't do the traditional, like, we're going to prototype a bunch of stuff, we're not sure what we're building for 2 or 3 years, and then in the last 6 months we're going to jam all the pieces together and see what we come up with. It was definitely a much more, and I'm just going to use this because I think it's another good example, is a much more God of War type build, where it was just this, everyone is on the same page, everyone is on this slow, consistent ramp up to the end product. So there is... That sounds like
a good setup, if you ask me.
Yeah, it does. It's really interesting. And the reason why I was bringing that up is because I forget what you had mentioned there, but I just was talking about... Oh, that's right. You had mentioned how cobbled together. This was one of the first times watching this one wasn't cobbled together in the last 6 months. This one actually was a slow burn at the beginning to end. So that was kind of...
Again, it's just a lot of ideas. A lot of ideas. I mean, and even if they're properly planned, I don't know what just happened.
See it on my screen yet? Oh yeah, he just ran right into that building.
Sorry.
Okay then.
And there
anyway,
you go.
So yeah, that's
okay. Give me a moment.
Oh yeah. In general, yeah, it's just from all that kind of stuff though. Like, yes, I do think that there's plenty to, like as you said, for as far as criticism of the industry goes, like things such as like just cobbling together pieces quickly. Although even something that doesn't have a bad production isn't some indicator that the game itself will be good. Again, we have to always wait and see with these things. But it's always
right.
that.
That's correct.
But it's always that just because things necessarily go wrong, though, at least with it, and that's always the thing I try to. And again, it's just because for me, even though
the enemy has proven quite cunning today.
With it, even though I tried to, for me, $60 something that even with a job that I have, because I'm
they're right on my heels.
Still,
I was there, man. I was there.
It's like, it's not exactly, even for me, a huge investment, but it's just something that I quickly end up forgetting that I spent it's a game that really caught fire.
Yeah,
wasn't part of our arrangement.
Spend over time doesn't really matter as much as it does in immediate sense. Yeah, and I think
for that.
You bring up an interesting point there too, because I forget who I was on my Twitter where I was talking about microtransactions in Destiny today.
Yeah.
And someone had commented on my Twitter that was just probably looking for Destiny tags and was like, "Oh yeah, we heard Luke Smith say that." I heard Luke Smith say that that the microtransactions actually do pay for additional development, and it was really interesting as they actually said something. I don't like the store, but I really surprised. Like 99% of the conversation I was saying, 99% of the time, it's that out to get everybody, all that money right?
It's all the budget and right, yeah. Even though when you look even the first glance, and that's why again it's because a lot of these people don't actually understand how these
they don't know what money that.
And even just how production works. So like I still remember even like the
moving.
where somebody was trying to criticize how often the show is going on hiatus. They don't understand that a lot of those are made by the network, not by the people.
Troubling.
Or even just how long things can take. You can just make an entire year which is voice casted, storyboarded, animated, and shit finally to the network. And even for people who are critics of it, though, often saying like this is some incompetence on their end, when no, it's just a lot of things over there. As you said, like as far as money to the CEOs go, it does mean a lot of it is in stock. It's not real.
Stocks, shares.
Yeah, right. Money, almost really has to go back to the generating business. CEOs and such go to the stock, right? I mean, the money that Star Wars Battlefront 2 makes, the best it makes, gets money back to easily. It's obvious.
More work for the rest
Most
of
of the
us.
money a project makes funds back to you so people can stay employed and build more content. And it's just utterly
down to
ridiculous
engage.
how far the conversation is skewed, especially now. You were saying earlier, conversations are just absolutely different. People worry about the fact that $1.99 for a blue box and Star Citizen $230 million, and yet you get what? What do we get? A year on Robert? Like Robert for $30 million.
And even then, the articles that they
Nice.
made don't get that much traction outside of people who are already invested in the internet. And
Right,
it doesn't even do so. Like, I use Young as my birthplace example. The time that I subscribed to it was like, I think, in early 2017 up until late 2017. It was the Battlefront 2 stuff where I really just started the bullshit related. It was through all that, but even from there, I still... The amount of videos he made on Star Citizen from the time I was subscribed to now, and even because YouTube recommends me his videos so much, I may as well still be subscribed to him anyway.
I see them all the time too, because his thumbnails are always there, and it's like, what are you
Thumbnails,
doing?
clickbait.
And
Oh, God,
so
I remember
it's always
Link
there. And
Shotty
the amount of
Cast.
times I have ever
Yeah.
called him ever making a Star Citizen video, I could probably count on one hand the amount of videos he's made on it, and only just because he was about some ship that he built. Conversely, the amount of videos he made on Mass Effect Andromeda, and Battlefront 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, hell, I think even GTA 5 even more so, and like a whole bunch of other AAA games received way more attention from him than even the sort of game that he could pretty much, with his size and platform, could make boatloads of ad revenue off of.
Yeah, it's all about the
And
money.
He's barely even made a word about it.
It's really interesting because you can almost tell just demographically, if you take a step back and you look at it, there is this, I don't know what the percentage is. It's like the 5% of gamers that populate social media and YouTube and Reddit. The Sterlings and the Yongyays are basically selling to them. Their revenue comes from repeating the same messages to the same people and reinforcing the echo chamber.
Truthiness.
And it's
or in
yeah,
Cooper's case,
it's really,
truthiness.
Yeah, it's this.
Ah, fuck.
It's
I remember when on Shotty
self-fulfilling-
Cast, I'll go to the clickbait.
Yeah.
I'm just so
It reminds me
surprised.
of what Jay Bradley was talking about. I agree with him, but I think really, really sincere. Because he really knows one, he's just experiencing content. Because these channels often go in one of two ways. Either they end up burning themselves out, or they end up being replaced by someone else who can fill the same. From my experience, that's
My contract's up the hard way.
I almost, if I had my perfect world, I would like to see that. Daryl that
I see they've learned how to aim.
negative, but yeah. But they always have to the victims of the system that make positive videos because they won't make any money, and it's kind of right.
Yeah, they have that choice. They have that choice.
Those guys know hardly that people who make the videos though, the high-end
Yeah.
Distressing.
I mean, this is for me. I like it. It's not bullshit, really. I should be able to I used to follow him on it. Like where he tried to say like, oh my god, like in reference to heroes because because obviously in every sort of thing involving characters that some end up just getting even better. So like, oh man, in games this never happens. In fighting games before or engaging with communities, there's several where if you pick a certain character, it will play you cheap. Dragon Ball Fighters, if you pick Gohan, Perfect Cell, you will be labeled as a very cheap player who can't do so. At launch, Aquaman, or if you go with the DLCs, Starfire was also considered super. Even though she's a range character, she's supposed to be keeping you at range. Because the funny thing about gamers, they always consider overpowered when they can't personally beat it. But of course, when no one goes against them, it's totally acceptable.
Yeah, it's
always
totally
a funny thing. I
balanced.
always see that.
Yeah.
I remember like wiping the floor against my friends in Soul Calibur 6 is a nightmare. I do that most of the time.
Nightmare.
Always I say though,
Sword!
anytime I look at balance, it's one this is underpowered seriously. I'm like,
Sorry, I can't.
I do it all the time. Problem is, you don't want to adapt it. Maybe I should adapt my strategies. Maybe there. Because at least in my experience, gamers are the only people who have had exactly. Like, it's pretty much
Yeah, right.
Comic book fans, movies, even hell, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and well, comic books.
It's sort of like that.
Why don't you try the microtransactions? Right? What's the difference, right? It's
like you pay especially if you're paying for express passes, you can even spend up to $300 on this one day just on admission and express passes even on.
I'm going
you're still paying
with my family. That's what we're doing. They microtransactions us to get on the rides faster.
Go on without me.
like yeah, there's that.
Wait, I'm on the last one. How to? Oh yeah, people come about crashing. I know what that's like.
Like yeah, I don't have much.
It's gonna take much more.
I work at Universal right now. Like the person get there, like the rates like the hotel stays. For hotels, I only have to pay $50 or $75 a night for a particular different hotel. Whereas like a lot of other people, they can be charged hotel. They can be charged up over $600, not even counting other things like parking and taxes and hotels. $600 a night, and the rooms there are fine, but they're not the sort of thing you'd pay $600 for. And they only get away with it just because, hey, Hard Rock is a brand, and a lot of people love this brand.
Well, I think that's that Uber's developer took so much slack for maybe poorly pointing out that a lot of gamers spend a lot of time complaining about nickels and dimes, and it's kind of when you look at like the magnitude of the perspective of things that we're talking about, like like you were just saying, right, like what it costs to do certain things in life, and then we're talking about $1.99 loot boxes, or we're talking about $20 DLC or a $10 sparkle pony, right? But then you look at there's like serious problems in life, like there are real problems in the real world, and so much energy and time is dedicated to tearing down something that probably isn't meant to be
like again
serious.
I'm a guy who's just a generate Universal. I only make $12 an hour for what I do, and even still I'm only just about to be part-time, only will be pretty soon on that though, and even then I don't consider $60 some huge expenditure on my part. There is no world that will exist where I could consider that, regardless of my financial circumstances, a huge one. Maybe one I can't make at a given moment, like I'm not just buying
right, sure.
games just everywhere, but it doesn't mean that I'd ever consider the one time I do so this massive expenditure that will take me a while to get back from. I'll get back from it by my next paycheck.
Yeah, that's
it's just things like that, and especially from other hobbies. Like when I was playing airsoft in high school, I spent way more money on that than I ever did on games. The gun itself I bought was like $250 just off of that.
Yeah.
Then I bought the vest itself, which was another $30. 2 extra set of pouches of dual mag pouches that were another like $7 or $8 from there. Extra mags to buy into those, which cost me like about $40-ish, something like that. There was that. Then I had to buy my ammo, which was about $15 per that, and I also had to pay shipping for those things too.
Ammo for
Boots,
what?
which were $90. Ammo for the gun, though. The
For
gun
the gun,
doesn't just come with it.
Yeah.
For that, my face mask, which I still have on my, which I still have on my shelf, that thing cost me about $90 though, and also another like $10 or $15 in shipping. There was that, the pants that I bought with it, the shirts that I also got with it, because obviously I live in Florida, so it gets really freaking hot out here. So I bought that for comfort. Among many other things, I spent way more money on there, and you will not find a single airsoft player who bitches about the money that they spend, even though they spend money on literally every single thing that they do on this. Ironically, airsoft and paintball are pretty much the sort of things you actually could argue are pay to win, because there are guns that are just much better than those, and if you have the disposable income, you could pretty much just buy better guns off the bat, and you will not find a single soul complain about it. Or conversely, gamers will whine about the most tiny, inconsequential shit though that they will pretty much never really care about though. Like in the case of cosmetics though, when people were bitching about, oh my god, 500 cosmetics in Mortal Kombat X, as I often make a joke when I would use them because I use Fallout 76. Yeah, sure, I'm sure of all the cosmetics, you were hoping to play in the Happy and Jeans pants the whole time. Totally, I expect that that's what you were planning on running with.
You know,
I was totally planning on that.
That's what's really interesting about that perspective is that it really does. I guess at some point, and I don't remember when it happened, there was this shift in the narrative. There was this. If you look back, and I don't know how long you want to look back here, but games didn't supply things like cosmetics and such, and if they did, they were more so like you would earn a coat in game, or you'd earn a shirt or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and it was supplied in game, and there was. It's not the industry's fault, it's just the way that it was. So this idea that cosmetics were part of the game, and developers, in order to get increase revenue, take some of the fluff into a separate pay layer, like whatever it is you have to get paid for, right? And at first, the narrative should be like, okay, this stuff is game content, and then you kind of watch it like, you know, like you're
We'll help you, BB-8!
Get into this narrative that you shouldn't accept it. This is part of the game. And what I don't understand with that argument, I understand. Where's the end game of that argument, right? Because at what point do you think about everything they want? Okay, so in the most extreme case, they get everything they want. Everything that comes from this cannot be charged anymore. Has to come on this.
Deploying proton torpedo!
The end game of that is severe loss of game depth. Because there's no layer add revenue stream onto the natural progression that would be developing cutting down content to fit into the supply chain. Because right now, games are exploded in cost. They can recoup that cost from microtransactions. So if you want these mass experiences, you have to basically generate that revenue stream.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. It does that. It's just going to be inside down. Fine,
and in general, games just in general grow for what they do. They always go.
Yeah, that's true. Right.
What games are doing. Like, I used airsoft when I was a kid. Even when I did the first games, when airsoft there, it was honestly very similar to paintball. No gas tank, the shuffle beams, with that, no gas tank. And there really wasn't much of a thing. There were no gas cylinders there, and there's no play outdoors very effectively. More and more, they started offering these things though, attachments started actually being big on guns though, like in Red Dot, other sort of whereas then those didn't exist and as it goes on, the industry will have more to offer than it did before, for reasons though. And again, it sort of just goes into this other thing where people act like games offer more back and down than before, and say, not really, even if you just compare. Like, I was just recently playing that thing on I compared all the content for Arkham Knight unquestionably has more content than any other game.
Right.
Even from challenge maps to story content to pretty much everything and anything. It has way more than all those other games. It's pretty much the same deal. Dead Rising 3 and even like Dead Rising 4 had more content than the apps. But it still had more content than the and even still it was there, even from a lot of these games.
Enemy destroyed!
There was actually more of, let's say, compared to new and Battlefield 2. The margins are actually pretty small. Like, I just did a recent little experiment of it. Like game modes, we used Battlefield 2, 5, we were 6, 16 maps for 2017 as opposed to 21, about 21 extra maps on the old one.
There was
very slim margins like that, though.
There was one thing that I kind of missed from the original Battlefront 2.
Like, say, Battlefront 2015, that had definitely way less maps, but it had way more game modes instead, though, and also actually had cosmetics, something the other game didn't have. So it's not like there is just it has nothing the other ones do. No, they do. It's just whether it interests you or not.
Yeah, right.
Hey, do you know what I really missed from the original Battlefront 2? Galactic Conquest. It's
what?
The risk mode where you select a space on the map and you basically do a match. It's like that.
That's what is like capital, or not capital, but like Planet
Yeah.
It's all bot.
There's supposed to co-op mode.
There was,
I just kind of.
At the end of the day, it was just a mode that gave space assault and instant action, but also you move ships around as well, though. I'd see
it gave some bonuses and whatnot, right?
But at the end of the day, there wasn't anything that much different from the core mode. You just basically mashed 2 modes.
Run the repair protocols, pal!
Around with the bonus. So even though I liked the mode and I even replayed it recently, I couldn't honestly sit there and tell you who was going to the topic. It's still
It's the presentation, right?
Yeah. It was sort of like that, though. So again, I always find that, honestly, when people say that games back then offered more, I question how it's going to do this. At this point, I pretty much very often replay games because that's just what I did. I think that changes my mentality because when I was growing up, I was pretty much only on first years of as well. Anything from thought, I had to make them count. Often replaying them.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily out of love for it. I mean, sometimes it was that, like the Fallout games, but very often it was just got nothing else, so I'm just going to
So what was the first?
Speaking
of Fallout,
if you told me, sorry,
speaking of Fallout, what
10 years ago?
Yeah. What's the first Fallout game you played? Me, Fallout 3, like most other people. Yeah.
All 3 was what I played from you, but those are the ones I pretty much wasn't me. What if I was a real game? That's what people understand. If you told me 10 years ago that you were I would have thought you were a freaking liar.
Yeah, right. Because what the hell's free to play, right?
Pretty much. As far as free to play, it's kind of like a mobile thing, and there used to be a mobile thing out there. But yeah, getting to from that, Warframe and Fortnite, and even I guess if you were free to play. If you told me that, I would have thought you were a total liar, and that was completely impossible. Never would have happened. I don't get a thing that actually it's pretty much something that's closing in on $1 billion.
Yeah, it's like allowed the industry to open up and actually get more people involved in the games. It's been a boon for the industry, and honestly, it's been a boon for players too. But people don't realize that. They look at the traditional models. It's actually there was 2 doctors or something that did an AMA on Reddit or something, and one of them pointed out that they do see the problems with the and like myself and others have pointed out, right, there's definitely conversations we've had about control and that type of thing. But one of the things they commented on is that I was just going to say, one of the things they point out is that even though they recognize the model, the biggest thing they saw
Hey,
with
that's my ship!
Fight is that a certain portion of the player base that has adopted this model. It's not because this model is bad or wrong or that in industries like this that go through the size of the shift, generally speaking, a portion of the customer base
Little
that
trouble
doesn't
here.
like the business model. They want things to go back to the way that they like them. And that's 15 years ago, and then people when it changes.
Make it's always created, right?
Yeah.
So it can help. But
Like, as far as it, and even when I see addictions to something, like say if someone's either addicted to Overwatch coupon, it's always far more indicative of a much more.
You know what's better than one torpedo?
Oh, I was totally guilt-free and out of nowhere. That doesn't happen.
Shield's still hanging in there.
And it's so weird that when it does happen, in general, I find the whole like silly because it feels like being selectively only using a
So like that.
It's just that. Okay, so if you show up in arms with the gambling, why exactly? See, actually, if that's actually just using that gambling casino. Like,
right.
even on, like, the only people that are
Something special just for you.
I don't think anything on there, even though you still provide. I'm not saying that it's casino presence or anything like that. I'm nowhere near as arrogant to believe anything like that.
Sure.
But
That'd be nice,
even
though.
still, at the end of the day, sure would be nice. But it's like, but at the end of the day, if you're going to try to proclaim to me that you're angry against this sort of thing, though, you're angry against like things like gambling because of what it can do. Because as Nicandros even showed, actually, casinos do some really.
Yeah, like the lack of windows and artificial light to make sure that you
And also serving free drinks.
Yeah.
People can get fun.
And when they're intoxicated, they will make more likely to make irrational choices.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's something that has to be very legit. But of course, it's been stolen or young, any of those people talk to me. I don't ever see them talk about people that does not happen. So that to me demonstrates that they honestly
I'm hit!
There. Same with the children.
It affects what they want to use to dedicate time to change. Right, they can give to whatever.
Sorry, I have to remember these are team stream. That's
the more extreme swear words, slurs against like other other ethnicities and
teenagers split all the time. When I was a teenager, I was but anyway, it's just things like that. Honestly, gets more under my skin though. I mean, at least to be honest with it, like for example, if you want to fine. But don't tell me all that, but yet you're still going all the time, despite your supposed outrage over it. Just be honest though that and just say, I'm just going to do this for these selected people. Because if you were actually outraged at the thing itself, I'd be seeing you extend that outrage to things that also surround it. Like again,
hey, you're in first place again, and I'm in second place. Nice.
I'm really good at these Starfighter games though. But yeah, it's just with things like that. Like if you're supposedly all against gambling addiction, and yet I don't see you do anything about actual casinos or using your influence to do said things. You just only care about it when it's in the context of games, showing to me that you're being very disingenuous with me over what your actual thing is on it.
You know what I think is, I pointed this out to the other day, and then I actually got to run after and make this point. But I kind of pointed out to Sterling, of course he doesn't care that I'm pointing out to him, nor should he care, it doesn't matter, but I point out to him that his business is literally built on microtransactions. The whole point of a microtransaction
technically Patreon might be microtransactions, just a monthly investment, eh?
It is. You spend money and you hope to get some additional perks, because that's what Patreon's business model has always supported. You spend a certain amount of money and then you get certain perks based on whatever exactly you want to do, you want to have with it. Sometimes it can be as low as just a voice message to even occasionally some of these people do straight up Skype calls or whatever.
Right, or they get the content first or whatever.
Yeah, or they get content like to some extent earlier, sometimes a week. I've even seen some Patreoners even give their followers as much as a month in advance on their content.
Yeah,
right, like I get new content coming out. And
so
it's
like
I don't care. I don't care that he does. I think it's totally fine. That's how he builds his business. That's how he should do it. But the thing that microtransactions drive is they fund the rest of the game on.
They cover. They basically cover the game where
cost.
they cover the game where initial sales couldn't. Hell,
Right, exactly.
do I know something funny? For a while I was a part of a writing team for a mod for Fallout 4.
Okay.
And I was working with someone, and they mentioned that they had issues with microtransactions. And then I point out what you said. Microtransactions are a way to cover costs for games these days, because games are becoming bigger to make and thus more expensive to make.
And they can't raise the price.
And they raise the price of games. And they raise the price up from $60. It would cause problems. There's a reason why they stick with.
Trust me, as
gamers,
as
for
they
sure.
always say, are often liars on what they say that they will or won't accept. Like, oh, I wouldn't mind spending an extra $20. Yes, you would. You'll wait for that shit to go on. Sorry, you'll wait for that thing to go on.
Yeah, I don't mind you saying shit. I don't mind you saying shit. Fuck. Damn, piss. It's the more extreme. It's
just
more
things like that, though. Like, don't give me some bullshit about how you would totally be down for spending $80, $90, $100 on a new game. You don't do that with $60 games, and you're still super reserved there. And I'm supposed to expect, even as possibly just under doubling the price, and you would buy that? No, you wouldn't. Unless that was for a game series that you are like really into. Like, if I were to use my personal example, for me to spend something like $80 or even up to $100 on a game, unless that game's title has something involving Star Wars, Fallout, Tomb Raider, at least Square Enix's version anyway, since that's the one I was on there. Let's see, for like Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Star Wars,
Mass Effect,
Tomb
Dragon
Raider,
Age.
Mass Effect, not Dragon Age because I'm not really a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're one of those 5 things, I will not spend $100 though. I will just go the standard edition or whatever I'm grabbing.
Yeah. And people are like saying that Bioware is now on the shelf its former self. How?
It's always because people tend to always.
You left the group.
How is it like? Even the. Yeah, I left the group because I'm only going to be here for a few extra minutes and signing off because I wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was about to say on that though is that even when looking at Mass Effect 1, even looking at the reviews there, it was only considered a standardly good game. It wasn't until Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect actually became a really big series from that point. It was the one that really launched its.
And some people put the first game up on pedestal. It's like. And there's a reason why I prefer 2 and 3 over 1 and even Andromeda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
honestly,
when I was playing Andromeda, I had to be honest. I grew really frustrated with the open world mechanics, and it's like there's one thing I need to do. Oh wait, there's another thing I need to do. And
the exploration elements really don't do much. Like, you can explore multiple planets and different vectors, but there's really nothing there to explore other than just pick up this item or come across this potion, or fight this monster. And the experiences get old very quickly.
Yeah.
I love Mass Effect 1 despite its glaring flaws with me, but yeah, I would hardly say that this is the game that apparently would be awesome though.
Yeah.
I mean, even for 360, it still has some pretty wonky combat at times, and the cover system is just really shot.
Yeah, there's a reason. Like I said, there's a reason why I prefer 2 and 3. It feels a lot more focused, and though there are some spotty things with the animations, all the Bioware games have animation issues if you think about it. Loading issues, it's like
right. What can you get done in the time that you have in order to ship your games? What it comes down to, what is going to work?
It's always, again, I always dislike this glamorization of like how everything was always awesome back then, because I always go, yeah, I went back into the past, even just like recently though. It had a lot of moments, but man, did it have its fuck-ups though along the way. Like, do you remember the flood of movie titles that were coming in though? Those things were garbage, a lot of them. The Hulk 2031, which was technically a sequel to the movie I loved, that's probably one of the few I actually would consider good, as well as the Batman Begins adaptation. Those are some of the only 2 games, maybe a couple others, that I wouldn't consider legitimately good games in their own right from that. Also, these people don't remember. I mean, GameOverThirty, you're older than me. You remember the time when pretty much every brand under the sun was getting their game. Even the sort of brands that
Thor,
like, why the hell is
Incredible
this a game?
Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man.
All just because, like when Wheel of Fortune got its own game because, hey, at least it's a brand.
We still see some of that today, but it's definitely not so. Where to look at this? Not so brand oriented. It's definitely more gamified, but absolutely, I do.
I mean, sure, there are still big brands for that, like Marvel's having their hand in games again, and then obviously
I really am happy that
there's stuff here and there. Not saying that there isn't, but it's not as freaking like out there as like every TV show that ever existed getting their own game, all just because it exists. Because games were that easy and cheap to make back then.
Yeah, it was different time. Guys, I gotta run too. Because,
same.
Well, I have to sleep as well. But it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love talking with you.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. And again, I hope we can get into it.
Baffling.
And by the way, I'm going to send a raid to Echo 654. As of this video, they're playing Anthem, some of the new stuff, and their javelin has gravity ears. Alright,
well, yeah, I really gotta go because I gotta wake up in the morning.
Gravity ears. It's just that I have a lot of questions. Anyway, have a good night, everybody.
Have a great one, guys. Enjoy. See ya.
Have a great one, guys. See ya.
See ya.